So if you're a coach that's struggling with your messaging, with your positioning, with your niche, then this video is for you. By the way, my name's Joel. I'm out for a morning walk with my daughter. It's a beautiful morning here in Portugal, cold, but yeah, beautiful. Anyway, I was chatting to a client yesterday and he shared something that really landed with me and triggered the idea of this video actually. He was talking about his ideal client, who were men, and I won't share too many details, but he said something like, I really want them to break down. I want them to go on this journey. And I asked him, what do they want? And it really challenged him, and it led to long silence and a realization. See, if I go back to my first year as a coach, I had some deep wounds around not being good enough, and I projected a lot of those wounds onto my audience. I kind of outsourced my self-worth to my audience, and the way I did that was by trying to prove how clever I was and trying to prove that how far I've come, the personal growth that I've gone through. And my content was very much teacher style content, pointing, you've got to do this, you've got to come on this journey, you're making this mistake, come on. And it was very much my desire for them to come on this journey. And then I had a realization, and it was actually through watching a lot of Tony Robbins' content. And after about maybe 10 hours of consuming his content, I realized he tells the same story over and over and over again. And some of this content was like 20 years apart. And it really landed with me of how willing he is to pay the cost of boredom. And he's been telling the same stories for decades now. But look at the impact that he's created. Look at the size of the audience he's created, because he's willing to meet people where they're at. He's willing to, honor the cost of boredom. And in that moment, I realized that I was making all of my content about me. I'm going to share a paradox in a little bit, but I was making all the content about me and my needs, my wants, versus meeting my audience where they're at. So after this insight, I really honored the suck of speaking to my audience and going out and having lots of conversations. And I realized the stuff that I wanted them to want, emotional awareness, presence, connection to their heart, all these beautiful things that I knew that they needed, they never mentioned. What they said to me were things like discipline, consistency, I want to wake up earlier, I want to make more money. And these things felt quite shallow to me at that time. But actually, when I reflected back, they were all things that I wanted, because my life changed when I read the book, The 5 a.m. Club. See, prior to that, I would snooze for hours, literally, and I hated myself for it. Most mornings, I would wake up, snooze for an hour or two, and hate myself, beat myself up for it. And it led to a day of laziness, poor choices. I was overweight, I had poor self-esteem, low confidence, and I masked that with partying, with drugs, with all of those things. And it really stemmed from my ill discipline, my lack of consistency. So when I read the 5 a.m. Club and completely transformed my morning routine and started waking up at 5 a.m, everything in my life changed. And I forgot that. But when I started having these conversations, I realized, like them, I wanted to wake up earlier. I wanted that discipline. And actually, those were the things that really transformed me. And the reason why I didn't see that is a thing called the curse of knowledge, where we assume the things that are easy to us are easy to others. And this holds a lot of coaches back. But when I realized this and started talking about my morning routine, discipline, consistency, the things that eventually became pretty easy to me, that's when my content really started landing. And it's when my audience started reaching out. And I soon launched a program called the 5am Club, which I created 200 low ticket clients for, and then went on to create 15 high ticket clients. So the reason why I'm sharing this is a common mistake a lot of coaches make, is projecting their stuff, their needs onto their clients. The journey that I've been on in the last 5 or 6 years, I suppose, is one of self-reliance, where I'm satisfying my own needs with myself by going inside rather than going external to myself. And in doing that, I've become more of service. I've met people, my audience, where they're at. So I really want to invite you into that. Just tuning into where you're coming from when you're creating content. The where is far more important than the what you share. Where are you coming from? Are you coming from a place of wanting to be validated, outsourcing your self-worth, or getting the sale? Or are you coming from a place of service, of genuine love? Like, I'm sharing this video now because I want you to really hear this. There's no part of me that's thinking, I want to make a sale from this. Hello. I want to make a sale from this. I want you to like me for this. In fact, I want to be quite confronting here. I want to challenge you. I want you to tune into where you are, outsourcing your self-worth with compassion, and knowing that, trust me, I have done it and I still make the same mistake. I still forget myself. But as I say, once I've started to really live with more self-reliance, really go inwards to satisfy my own needs, I have become more of service, because I've realized there's so much more for me to give, and I've really paid the cost, I suppose, of meeting people where they're at. And that is really what we're looking for in our content, in our marketing, is that sweet spot of what we've lived, what we're embodying, what we love, what we're passionate about, what our audience wants help with, and what they want and what they will pay for. It's the standard Ikigai framework, right? That is what we are looking for in our content, in our messaging. And it's a process. It's not something that you find overnight. It's not something that you find by thinking, by doing lots of research, by sitting with lots of PDFs and brainstorming. It's found in the process of putting yourself out there, of honoring the suck. And in the new year, I'm going to be running a 4-week challenge, which is going to be focused solely on this, where every week we're going to be putting ourselves out there, having the courage to sell before building. Because another big mistake coaches make is they build before they sell. They go and do all the research, all the thinking, they go and create all the content, and then they go and sell it, but it doesn't sell. So in this 4-week challenge, we're going to have the courage and the fearlessness to sell before building. Let me make this real for you. So the reason why the Fearless for 4 came about was through an Instagram story. I ran a poll, it got an overwhelming response, and I followed those breadcrumbs, and I started conversations, and I realized I too had the curse of knowledge. I too had forgotten that the thing that shifted it most for me with my business was courage, was fearlessness action. My strength and how I've got to where I am now, living in this magical place, Portugal, living my dream life. And I'm sharing that to, not to boast, but to inspire what's possible. The reason why I'm here is because I use fear as a sign of what to lean into. And that has allowed me to really find my people. That has allowed me to find that Ikigai. It is not easy finding your Ikigai. That is what we are all after. That is what we're all in pursuit of, that meaning, that purpose. And we find it in fearless action, in listening, and finding that sweet spot of what we have embodied, what we are passionate about, what our audience wants, and what our audience will pay for. It is not found in thinking. It is not found in the PDFs. So that is a sweet spot. That is what we're looking for. I hope this has been helpful. Next week, on the 17th and 19th of December, I'm running a free 2-part workshop. It's a 2-part workshop that I'm running for my community, Elevator Coaching Collective, meaning there's going to be no gatekeeping, no fluff, no hype. And it's called the Connection Code. And we're going to talk about the 3 levels of connection that you need to make to build influence, to build authority, and ultimately make a load of money. And this isn't about going external to us. This isn't about lots of thinking. This is about tuning into us. This is about getting really honest about what are the things you're embodying, what are the things that you're passionate about, and then using that to go and test. Anyway, I hope to see you there. I'll pop the link below. Sending you lots of love.